Hello, and welcome to Midnight. This is Reverend Anna from Anna Transylvania's Tarot Room, and today is the first iteration of Wacky Wednesday, which means today is a day where I talk and you guys can ask me questions, and I cover certain questions, burning desires that you guys might have, and this is the day where we're really getting real and we can talk about real life and real practical solutions to issues that you might be having. Today, I actually wanted to talk about a question that I get asked surprisingly often, and that is, what do you do with leftover wax from ritual candles? Okay, I'm gonna be having a series this month about how to dispose and what you can do, ideas that you can do with various different leftovers from your workings. Okay, so as you can see here, I have some wax left over from a candle, and I will try to answer this question, which is really, the answer is really less dramatic than what you might think. Now, people, including myself, when I first started really trying to manifest things, I really thought that wax remnants were really extremely important, that I couldn't just put them in the bin, that, I had to do some sort of something. Woo, okay, some sort of something to basically extract my energy from them. And I realized as I do the workings that that was not the case. Okay, so a candle, by its nature, is the medium through which you release the energy and your focus and your intention into the universe. Okay, so you load the candle up with your energy, and as the candle burns, it releases the energy gradually into, the ethers, where your energy is going to commingle with the spiritual energy and bring you back what you desire. Okay, so once that energy is expended and the candle has burned down, these really become somewhat inert. Of course, this is actually dependent upon what you believe about the finality of your spell. So if you're doing a manifestation and it doesn't feel right for you to clean the remnants just yet, that's all right. You can leave them there for a while until the mood strikes you or the instinct strikes you, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna go clean this wax up, right? Now, for all of those other people who, as soon as they finish, they're like, I want to clean my stuff up. Okay, there are several different things that I like to do with candle remnants. The first thing, of course, so a lot of people tell us that we can bury candle remnants, which is great. Now, 100% beeswax will break down. Okay, so you can bury it, you can flush it down the toilet. It's organic matter, it will break down. So I don't have any problem with burying it and doing it the old way, so to speak, because back then they would have, candles made out of tallow, grease, and out of beeswax and out of different other waxes. I'm not sure if there's other waxes, Sometimes they'd have you can have other things in a candle and everything like that. So, I mean, if you have any kind of plastic or whatever that's not going to break down, like glitter sometimes can be made out of plastic and it doesn't really break down that easily. So, be eco-conscious as much as you want. Okay, so the first way to dispose of wax candle remnants is to bury them, or to, whatever natural way to let them break down. So, or to just put them in the bin. I like to put them in the bin. Just imagine 100 candles being buried in your yard. not a pretty sight, and then animal can get a hold of them. Okay, like I have a lot of squirrels in my area, so I don't like to do that. But to each their own. Put them in the bin, bury them. Excellent, excellent. Dispose of them somehow. Okay. Second way is to reuse the wax. There's a few ways that I do this. So, and some of my clients and customers also do some of these ways because they're also kind of pack rats and they like to reuse, this stuff. So, first way is basically I will try to save the remnants, especially if it's dedicated to one spirit, to a specific spirit, like say Saint Michael. Okay. If I'm dedicating, always red candles, always, I will save them, and at the end of the year, which is really on the spirit's birthday or on the spirit feast day, I will burn these in a fire with like all of the other like organic remnants. And if anything is left of that fire, I will put that in the bin and I will call it good. Okay. The other way is sometimes I will take all of these and remelt them into a candle and use it for blessings for my house. Okay. The third way is to melt these into those wax melters that you can melt with a candle underneath that release fragrance. This one is actually an already fragrant candle and I can smell it right now and it smells really, really good. So this one will do a very well, that there'll be like a couple. I just use one of those chocolate molds and I just melt the wax into it and it pops right out, and then I put the wax melt on the melter and it melts. So this one is going to have really good fragrance. So I just try to extract as much use out of it. Sometimes I will do like carvings or I will do like other intentional work with the wax. You guys let me know if you want me to cover how I do that, like a step-by-step of how I do that. We can do that on Magic Monday because it's perfect, or Frugal Friday. Okay. So let me know if you guys want to see some of my wax melts and how I make them or anything like this. Okay. So those are 3 ways that you can like reuse your wax and all of that. Okay. And I think that's it. So a third thing that I wanted to actually cover, there's another thing that I wanted to cover. And I wanted to talk about, okay, how do we know when to throw them out? So say there's a candle, it's on your altar, and it ran all over the place on your altar, but you don't feel like the spell is finished. If you don't feel like the spell is finished, keep that there. There is no hard and fast rule that at the end of the working, you have to toss away the candle. Now, for example, with this, like I'm going to reuse this because it's very fragrant, but this one is actually looks like a dragon head. Okay. So I'm going to keep this and I'm actually going to put it on one of my personal altars. Okay. So that's one example of like, I didn't notice it until I was breaking up the wax remnants off of this little disc here. And I'm like, oh, that looks like a dragon head. It's really cool. It just melted that way on its own. So I'm going to leave it until I feel it's necessary to like remove it. And then I'm going to reuse it in some other things. So for all of you guys who don't like to just take the remnants off of it, just notice what the idea of discarding them brings up, and the reaction usually is more interesting than the actual spell that you did and actually removing them, because it's going to tell you a lot about yourself on a psychological level, which is also very important. Okay, so I would try to journal that. Like if a lot of you might keep a journal or something like that, note how you feel about the finality of the spell that you've done. Okay. All right, so that was it. That is all for today. You guys let me know if you want me to cover. I'm gonna do like a series of these with different kinds of remnants and things that you can do with them, so that you can extract as much intention and magic and use out of your tools. Okay, so I'm gonna do an intention. If you guys want me to cover like glass candles and how do we dispose of those, because so a lot of us have, you know, glass candles that we use, and then there's that glass little like cylinder container. So I like to reuse a lot of stuff. I'm very, uh, people would call me resourceful. So I like to reuse a lot of stuff. So on Wacky Wednesday is when you guys can ask me all sorts of things. I might even do a live on Wacky Wednesday. So, okay, guys. So it is midnight and it is my bedtime, ironically. Okay. I am glad we were able to cover this because I believe it's important. And as always, like, share, subscribe, comment if you want to, ask me questions if you want to. I always look at your comments. I love to really spend time with you guys here on this channel. You guys are my soul family, so to speak. And until next time, guys, okay? Good night. Love. Bye.